Hi everyone, I'm Tamara. I'm a master's student at McGill University, and today I will present the paper Opening the Scope of Openness in AI that I have done with my two supervisors. So let's begin with a question that was a starting point of all my work, is what does open mean in the context of AI? Does it mean that we can access some component of the AI system, such as the weights, the datasets, the training code? Does it mean that we should be transparent to the public? Does it require a license? Or is it only about the ability of something? All these questions are not easy to answer because open and also open source are used in a wide variety of scenarios in AI. Let's take two models as example that are often labeled as open source, Llama 3.1 and Olmo. So Llama 3.1 have its parameter and inference code widely available, but its license restricts certain users. In the opposite, Olmo have more components available, such as the training dataset, the training code, and use a permissive license without any restriction on the users and the users. So as you can see, there's a lot of different practices that are labeled as open source, but open source was it's a well-established definition for like 27 years for the software industry. So why is the definition of open source for traditional software is not applicable to AI? The first reason is because traditional software and AI system have different sources. By source, I mean what the system is composed of. AI systems have also, for example, parameters that are non-human readable, so that can't be considered as source code. The second reason is even if you apply the same practices to traditional software without AI and AI systems, you will not end up with the same benefits. For example, opening a traditional software can permit to an external developer to explain the output of a system, but it's not the case for complex and large AI systems. Lastly, AI systems and traditional software have different ethical concerns because most of the recent AI systems are more flexible and capable than what we see in the software industry. There is a risk of misuse that is really important. For example, like deepfake, but also like bioweapon or anything, and it can lead to different ethical concerns and challenges. So, to address all these challenges, this previous work who have worked on defining open source in AI, but also like assessing through framework the level of openness of different models. And even if those work are like a really good first step, they really focus on what components should be open to consider an AI system open, but they don't really go further on the philosophical aspect and the fundamental aspect of what is openness. But in reality, going beyond open source software, there is a lot of other disciplines which have different terms like open source hardware, open data, open innovation, open university, and they all refer to fundamental, philosophy that is openness. But this philosophy is hard to grasp, because it's really contextual, and when we try to define it, like most of the work we try to define it, have trouble to make an exhaustive definition of what is openness. But to use it in AI, we first need to understand what is openness. So that's the research objectives of my work. What is openness and how it can be applied to AI? So to do this work, we first collected more than 200,000 articles with the term open in the title, and we used topic modeling to extract and group 98 concepts of openness, such as open innovation, open markets, and then we collect 5 definitions for each concept in the literature, and we apply a qualitative method named reflective thematic analysis to create a taxonomy of what is openness. And this is a taxonomy. It's a two-dimensional taxonomy with a theme of openness, such as interactivity, freedom, and inclusiveness, and the approaches used to define openness, such as through properties, afforded action, or through desired effects. Let's take an example to explain this taxonomy. First, we have open architecture. It's a concept in IT that refers to systems composed of independent modules that mutually operate according to standard interface between modules. This definition is defined through properties of a system, like independent module, standard interface. It's something about the system itself. And here, these properties are aiming to make it easier to reuse the system, so the theme is reuse. Then we have open label, which is a concept in medicine that refers to the fact that a type of intervention is known by the subject, investigators, and outcome evaluator. Here, there is an action. It's knowing the drug or the intervention that is done in the intervention. So it's an afforded action that is done on the drug and or the intervention, and the theme is inspectability. Lastly, we have open science that can be defined. There's multiple definitions of open science, but can be defined as all set of principles and methods that aim to make scientific research in all fields accessible to everyone, benefiting both scientists and society as a whole. Here, it's defined through a desired effect, what we want. It's making accessible scientific research to everyone. So this is a desired effect, and the theme is democratization. So we group like that all the 98 concepts and in this taxonomy in our paper, and then we apply it to the definition or framework we have in AI, such as the open source AI definition of the open source initiative. So when we compare the taxonomy to this definition, we can notice that there is some themes that are already covered by the definition, such as aspect, inspectability, or distribution, but there's also some themes that are not covered at all, such as collaboration or fairness. And most of the definition only use afforded action to describe what is openness in AI. So it's action that is possible to do on the system, such as using the system, studying the system, and not property of the system itself. But it doesn't mean that we have to stick to those themes or those approach to define openness. And it can be even exemplified by the preamble of this definition that states some benefits, which is the goal of why we need a new open source definition for AI. And one of its benefits, it's collaborative improvement. And collaborative improvement is clearly referencing to the theme of collaboration. And it's clearly, because it's a benefit, it's more desired effect than really an action. That means that maybe we should enforce it, such theme, into the definition itself, and not just in the preamble saying we want collaboration. So that's why, my contribution in this work is to provide a taxonomy of what openness means across disciplines, and to provide direction to broaden the scope of openness in AI through this taxonomy. Thank you so much for listening, and I will take any question if there is.